All right. Hello there. Welcome to Wisdom on Wednesdays webinar. We're getting there. This week, we're talking about widows and how to support widows, changing widows, people who have experienced a divorce or big breakup, same, single people, okay? But also specifically widows, being that it was Widow Support Day. So again, we're here to change narratives, right? And that's such a big deal to be able to change narratives. So write these down, write them down. No advice, no advice, no analysis, no fixing. Okay, so we're going to hold off on those at all costs. Or at all costs. No advice, no analysis, no fixing. And then also write down, don't minimize. Don't minimize, don't make it small. Don't say, well, at least this. Okay, we're going to talk about that. And no comparison. So I want you, what you're going to say, what you think you might like to say, run it through those filters. Can it fall under the category of advice, analysis, fixing? Can it be perceived as not what you intended it as? Can it be perceived by that person as minimization or comparison? Okay, so the current narratives that I see and I hear about all the time are, to put a positive spin on things. Well, they're not in any pain anymore. That could be true. That person who has died is probably not in any pain anymore. But we're not really talking about the person who's died per se. We're talking about the one who's left living with gaping wounds in their heart, and they are in pain still. So putting the positive spin on that person over there is neglecting to pay attention to this person right here who's in your presence. So we want to avoid that. No positive spins in any way, okay? We're not trying to pull them out of their pain and slap a happy label on it. That's not going to work. So just be aware of those types of things you might say. Another thing might be to put a positive focus or that silver lining type positive attitude. Similar. It's not going to work. An example of that might be, be grateful for the time you had. But my heart was hoping for more. So yeah, that's great. That's why I'm hurting. I was wishing it would be more. I was wishing it would have gone better. Okay. So avoid those positive focuses, or you're young, you have plenty of time to remarry. Well, at least they gave you those kids and you still have a piece of them. That is just not helpful. Everything happens for a reason. Could you please find a reason that will make me feel better that my husband or my wife, my spouse is dead and I have to live a life without them? Really? That's not going to feel good no matter what type of spin we put on it. So we have to be really careful to avoid any positive spin, silver lining. There's a religious type of positive spin too. God won't give you anything more than you can handle. Now they're with God. Now they're in heaven. Now they're chasing the pink unicorns. Whatever you might want to say, you have to be careful to avoid that Christian style or that religious style positive spin that can happen too, because that can be very dangerous as well, and that can actually end up harming the person's relationship, their relation or their religious walk or their spiritual walk. So you want to be really careful to avoid any of that positive spin stuff. And these are just the things I hear all the time, and I see them on social media all the time. Or there's even that mindset of the best thing to do is get into a new relationship. That's wrong. That's not helpful. I have a book here from the Grief Recovery Institute called Moving On, and it's called Dump That Relationship Baggage. Now that's more for breakups and divorces or things, but the concepts are the same. Grief recovery method, the same. We need to heal the wounds in your heart before you try to give that holy thing to another person. Let's heal it. Let's heal it and make sure that you are capable to be fully present in that next relationship. And that's that has enormous value. Okay. Um, a lot of the things we hear are, you've got to get rid of all their stuff. You've got to donate it. Just donate it. You'll feel really good. Find a worthy cause and you'll feel really good. Or don't get rid of anything. Keep everything. The two ends of the spectrum. And actually, in our book, in the Grief Recovery Method Handbook, we have a chapter on exactly that, on exactly what to do with things that have been left over when you've become widowed. It's called the pile plan. It's in here. I believe it's on page 162. Let's see, somewhere right around there. The pile plan, page 163 and 164, that will show you a very strategic and specific step-by-step plan for what to do with those things that are left over. How do you get a new checking account, or what do you do about the checking account? And so we have very specific things in there because we're grievers. And John and Russell, they absolutely knew what they were doing when they created this method to help you with your hurting heart, or to help your friend or your family member. That's why it's evidence-based. It works. Avoid the things that say, we want to leave them feeling less alone. So sometimes people can jump into that, oh, I know what you're going through because my dog died. I felt so alone. I know what you're going through because, after my divorce, blah, blah, blah. And I felt, so it can be this, I know what you're going through because, and here's the thing, we can't possibly know what someone else is going through. Their emotions are a buildup of the things unfinished based on their relationship, the emotional things that are left unfinished, or whatever it could be, but because of their relationship. That's what's leading to their pain, is the experiences they've had together and the ones that they will no longer have together. And you couldn't possibly have been a part of all the exact same experiences or have all the exact same hopes, dreams, and expectations that are now going to go unmet. So the I know how you're feeling is wrong. It's not helpful. People think that it's one of the current narratives is also you should, all the you shoulds. They want to fix this person and they know what to do to make them feel better. We can't make someone feel better. We can simply hear them where they are in this moment. So avoiding all the fixings and all the you shoulds and I woulds, the passive aggressive style fixing. I would say this, or I would do this. You can't possibly know what you would do in their shoes because you're not in them. You might be close to them. You might have gone through something with a similar title, but you have not experienced their exact relationship and now the empty parts of their relationship. You can't. So we need to change these narratives because they can be dangerous. They can be so painful. And we are there because we want to help, right? So sometimes out of our most generous and kind and loving self, we actually end up hurting other people. And it's purely by accident. I want to help you and equip you to not be that person. All right. If you have a widow somewhere in your midst, or, there's a chance it could happen, arm yourself now with this good, helpful, true, correct information, the stuff that we know works. Okay. So we want to learn. We have to challenge what we already know, to be willing to consider and maybe even adopt new ideas. This next one would be to learn. What can we learn? What should I be doing then? Well, when a widower is before you and they're, saying, they just look down. Maybe they haven't said anything. They just look down. They look distant. They don't look well, and you know that. Or maybe they have said something that you're like, that's off. Ask them, what's going on? You have to develop this curious wonder about people. You can never assume that, oh, it's about this person and they're the one they're missing and that's it. And you can never decide that you know all the story, you know what they're feeling, all the thoughts, all the wonders. You can never do that. Every time you're in their midst, you have to develop this curious wonder about them and what they're presenting with in this moment. What's happening? That's the first question, is always, what happened? What's bubbling up for you right now? And then you have to listen. You have to develop this idea of being a heart, showing up with your heart with ears, a heart with ears, no mouth, because we're not going to be talking. We're just going to show up wanting to care and using our ears to do it. Okay. So no talking. Don't talk, don't touch, don't interrupt. You're just there to listen. And if it's uncomfortable for you, suck it up. You need to be present for this person, Not many people are, I guarantee you. So do this person a great service and just listen without talking, touching, or interrupting. Okay. And then when they're done, feel what they said, be present with those words. And we're present with people's words when our body and our mind and everything is engaged, our heart is engaged, and we're, oh, ouch. And we show them that we're tracking. We show them that we feel the weight of what they're saying. Now, we can't feel it the way they do. We have no idea what the intensity is like for them, but we need to be present and show them that we are tracking and we're feeling what they said, okay? So feel it with your face and your body, make sure they match, and then respond. Now, this can be really tricky, right? Oh, what do I say? I don't know. You just took all the things away that I would normally say. Okay, I got you. Go really simple. Don't make it too complex because you're probably a little uncomfortable. You probably don't get to do this all the time. And it feels yucky when we don't know what to do. So some things that you can say, the most simple thing is, I have no idea what you could be feeling, but I can see that it's so enormously painful. That's really honest, isn't it? Maybe I'm going to say, I don't know what to say. I just see that you're hurting and I'm uncertain what to do. How could I be helpful to you? They may not know. It might be too big of a question, but that initial statement of, I don't know what to say, is so honest and very present for them. And they will always, I would say more likely than not, they're going to feel the love in your words there. I usually will go with something like, I can't even fathom how intense this pain is for you. I can see that it is, though. Thank you for sharing bits of your heart with me. Are you accepting hugs? And if they say yes, I will hug them. Go search, my page, on any social media and my link, or a video here on YouTube that you can look up to see what is a proper hug. It's probably more in depth than you realized. And I have a step-by-step tutorial there of how to give correct and useful hugs for someone who's grieving. Now, here's the deal. Widows especially, but also people who have gone through divorce or who are single, one of the things they miss the most is hugs. They miss their physical touch. They haven't had physical touch for a while. And that's where you come in. If you're going to offer that hug, make sure you listen to that hug video. In fact, if I can figure it out, I'll link it down here so you can watch it. But and listen and let that be a learning bit for you. But they lose that physical connection, and you can give them, excuse me, all of a sudden my voice is dry. Excuse me. But you can help them with whatever they're facing simply by being present, listening. Excuse me. By asking them what happened, listening to their response, feeling it. All of a sudden, my voice got so dry and stuck together. My throat, I mean. And then responding with, I don't know what to do, but I see that you're hurting. Thanks for sharing. Are you accepting hugs? It's a perfect place to start. I apologize for choking in your ear, turning into frog voice. I love you. Thank you for caring. Thank you for being present with the widow in your care. Thank you for being willing to consider information that's not so helpful and being willing to change your narrative to some information that is. I love you, everybody. Bye-bye.